Okay, wow, some pretty insightful lyrics you've sent our way.
Yeah.
Let's do a deep dive into this Alone Together world.
Sounds good.
Yeah, these lyrics from a song, well, it's actually called Alone Together.
Right.
Don't just, tell a story. They really do capture a feeling, a whole vibe, I think, that
Yeah.
a lot of us are feeling these days. This idea of searching for connection, for something real in a world that seems to be pushing us further and further apart.
Yeah,
Kind of ironic, don't you think?
definitely. It is. And the lyrics, they do such a good job of getting at that feeling of alienation, especially in the city. Like when they say, the city hums, but I'm numb to the feeling.
Right.
The city's cold, but we keep pretending. It's
Yeah.
like the city itself, it's like this force, this isolating force, this concrete jungle that, it pulls you in, but it also just drains you emotionally.
For sure. It makes me think about like those old film noir movies
Yeah.
where the city's always portrayed as this like shadowy, anonymous place,
Yeah.
and people just get lost in the crowds. It's like a visual for that feeling of loneliness.
No, it really is. It is. And that visual, that sense of isolation when you're surrounded by all these people, it's been like a recurring thing in art and literature forever. Like think about Edward Hopper's paintings.
Oh, yeah.
Those solitary figures, sitting in diners or
Yes.
looking out of empty windows. It just speaks to something deeper about being human
Totally.
that goes beyond any one time or place.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
And speaking of time and place, I can't help but think about how technology fits into all of this.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned pretending.
Right.
And there's that line, it really stuck with me. It says, I see your face in the crowd tonight, but you fade away like a flickering light.
Yeah.
It's like we're, I don't know, always putting these versions of ourselves online, these
Oh.
curated versions, and the connections, they just feel so superficial, like a bunch of flickering lights, like you said.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
Because technology can give us this illusion
Right.
that we're connected, there's all this communication going on, but it can also make us feel more alone.
For sure.
We're just bombarded with images of other people's lives, and they always look perfect.
Oh, totally.
And then you start to feel like you don't measure up, and it can make you feel even more isolated.
Absolutely. And then there's the title Alone Together.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about irony.
Specific.
Right. It really sums up that feeling of being next to someone, maybe even in a crowd,
Yeah.
but still feeling completely disconnected.
Yeah, and the chorus, really gets at that. It says, alone together, but we're falling apart, trying to find someone to fill the dark.
Hmm.
Even when we are looking for connection, there's this fear, right? This fear of being vulnerable.
Totally.
Of really
Oh.
letting someone in.
Yeah.
It's like we all have these masks on, afraid to just be ourselves. Because
Yeah.
what if we get rejected? What if people judge us?
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah.
that kind of brings us to this like craving for authenticity
Right.
that the lyrics talk about. Lines like, you say you want love, but it's hard to trust. And we're all just trying to feel something real. I mean, it's like deep down, we all want that. But I don't know. It's like we hesitate to actually go for it.
It is. It is. And I think, it goes back to that fear of being vulnerable. It's just easier to stay guarded.
Right.
To, what was it? Keep pretending, like
Yeah.
the song says,
Yeah.
than to really open yourself up and risk getting hurt.
Yes.
But the thing is, by doing that, we might be missing out on the very connections that we want so badly.
I think you're right. And it's like this fear. It's almost connected to past hurts.
Yeah.
Like times when you tried to connect with someone and it just led to pain or disappointment. The lyrics mentioned running in circles, playing this game. Maybe love's just another scar. It sounds like, I don't know, maybe they're just tired.
Yeah.
Like they've given up on finding a real connection.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of like disillusionment there.
Right.
That maybe real connection is just too hard.
Yeah.
Too risky.
Too risky. Yeah. It's so complex. You know?
Yeah.
It's this like mix of wanting to be close to people, but also being afraid to let them see the real you. And then there are all those past hurts that make you wonder if it's even worth it.
Right.
And then on top of that, there's this pressure to look perfect
Yeah, it's a lot.
all the time.
It really is. And I think these lyrics, they don't necessarily give us easy answers, but they do something really important, which is they make us face these truths about what it means to be human.
Wow.
They're like holding up a mirror to our own lives.
Yes.
And they make us ask ourselves, like, how can we break free? How do we get out of this cycle of loneliness and disappointment?
So, okay, if that's the problem, then where do we go from here? How do we find those genuine connections?
Yeah.
In this world of like flickering lights and fake smiles.
Well, that's the great thing about art, right? it can start these conversations, these important conversations. It can make us think about our own lives in a new way. It doesn't always give us the answers, but it can, it can light the way.
I like that. It can light the way. So as we all go about our day, let's think about those flickering lights.
Yeah.
Those quick connections, online interactions, those rare moments when you actually feel a spark with someone. How can we make those moments last? How
Yeah.
can we be more present, more genuine,
Right.
and maybe, just maybe, figure out how to get out of this alone together trap?
That's what it's all about. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Thanks for joining me,
It was my pleasure.
and we'll see you next time
See you later.
on The Deep Dive.
Bye.
Bye.